Hi, right. Well, I suppose my arguments really are ethical more than anything else. There's a really interesting book called Energy Without the Hot Air, and it was written by a guy called David Mackay, who is a Cambridge academic and for a time chief scientific advisor in the Department of Energy and Climate Change. And it's freely available, downloadable from the internet. It's got some interesting stuff in it. I'm not saying it's a light and interesting bedtime read, but it's really very instructive. And he dissects the way we in the modern world use our energy. And there are some quite striking observations in there, which is that, and the one that really strikes home with me, is that 16% of the world's population uses 75% of the world's energy. And if you look at the amount of energy per head that we use in Western Europe, never mind what is used in North America, it is probably a factor of 5, 6, 7 times more than somebody in Asia or sub-Saharan Africa uses. And one of the questions in my mind is, who are we to dictate that level of energy resource that is available to the vast majority of the world's population? We were born lucky, if you like. So if you accept that that large majority of the world's population is entitled to use energy, or at least to aspire to use energy, in the sorts of quantities that we use it, which would be essential if they were to achieve the sorts of standards of living that we have, then how are you going to achieve that? You need vastly more energy than we currently have, and you don't have that many ways of getting large amounts of energy reliably on tap in quantity. You can look at the carbon-based fossil fuels, coal, oil, gas. Coal is increasingly out of favor as a dirty fuel. Oil is increasingly, I think, seen as too precious simply to burn as an electricity-generating fuel. It's a very convenient fuel for transport. It's also a very important chemical feedstock. And then you have gas, which has some attractions, but all three are still carbon-based fuels. And we're now living in a world where the CO2 content of the atmosphere is twice what it was pre-industrialization. Is that really a route we want to go down more and more and faster? Perhaps not. There are renewables, yes, certainly, but you have big questions about reliability, about their ability to deliver the huge quantities of energy that would be implied by giving much more energy to the majority of the world. And there's nuclear energy, and I'm absolutely not an evangelist for nuclear energy. It's, to me, in many ways, it's the least worst option we have. But it doesn't produce large quantities of CO2. And it doesn't consume carbon-based resources. And it is a proven technology. And it does produce a lot of energy, and it's there on tap when you need it. So, to me, nuclear has an important part to play. And then you look ahead and you start to think about our aspirations, for example, to decarbonize transport. If we move away from carbon-based fuel for transport to electric cars or hydrogen power, you need a lot more electricity, and that has to come from somewhere. And again, you face the problem of where do you get it? And I fully accept that nuclear has a troubled history. It has some really bad PR out there. And much of this is rooted in what was done 50 years ago. I'm a child of the Cold War. I grew up when the BBC News would say the UK tested another atomic bomb at the Nevada test site. And the origins of nuclear fission are inextricably linked with its military applications. And that is one of its big problems, its history and the baggage it carries. But I think we have to recognize that that is historic. And if we are going to solve some of these big energy problems for the world, we have to have nuclear as part of that energy mix. I've said enough. Thanks a lot.